Hello there and welcome to the first edition of Forza Top Gear Laps Rivals, the new spin-off where we pit a couple of cars with common ground and close PIs against each other to see which one can come out on top. In this first edition we take a look at two functional sports concept cars going head to head. While they share classifications, they are very different cars indeed. Firstly, the Nissan IDX Nismo looks to the past, being a modern day take on the legendary Datsun 510. This Nismo version of the IDX features a 1.6 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder, borrowed directly from the Nismo Duke RS, rear-wheel drive, and was aimed towards the tuner craze of the mid-2010s. With its aggressive styling and bare-bones interior once again harkening back to the good old days of the sports car, it received critical acclaim from the likes of Jay Leno and Car and Driver who were able to drive it. Despite this, however, the IDX looks like it has become a stagnant project, with Nissan focusing more on economical cars with a definite and booming market. On the other side of the coin, its rival for today is the incredibly modern TAMO Racemo. Developed by Tata Motors in association with Microsoft no less, the Racemo comes equipped with an advanced 1.2 litre Revotron 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine and a 6-speed semi-automatic gearbox, which in a car barely larger than a Fiat 500 would have made it very rapid indeed. However, the Racemo gets even more incredible inside, with on-the-fly updates from Microsoft's cloud, an advanced navigation system, and a very configurable 3-screen display that looks like it's straight out of a video game, instead of the traditional infotainment and gauges combo. Unfortunately, like the IDX, the Racemo seems not to be. Despite a promised run of 250 cars, the Racemo project has been put on hold due to cost cutting at Tata. While it's highly unlikely these two cars will ever meet in real life, here in Forza this matchup is possible. Let's head to the track. First up we have the 2015 Nissan IDX Nismo, 215 horsepower, 210 foot-pound torque, 2,866 pounds of weight. Out of the two cars here today, this is the most powerful, the torquiest and the heaviest, somewhat unsurprisingly. I should mention, just before I get into how the IDX Nismo drives, the Top Gear track has since been changed a little bit since the last update. There's a lot more cones littered around the place, as well as a couple new replay angles, including this one, which while it looks kinda cool, is entirely, well, terrible, because as you can see, you can't really see the car go around that corner, which is an issue. Yeah, there's a bunch more cones, don't worry about them too much. I'm going to drive the track the same way that I've always driven the track, regardless of those cones, and these cars were driven before this track was updated. However, in the replay it sort of retroactively put them there, so if you see the car not be affected by them, that's why. Anyways, as far as the IDX Nismo goes to drive, it is a surprisingly sharp car. It does have very quick turn-in, the rear end does like to kick out a little bit, but it's not too bad. The brakes are absolutely fantastic on this car, gets the car stopped really well. A really nice car to drive. However, it is a little bit on the slow side. Despite having relatively decent stats, a decent power to weight ratio for the class it's in, it just does feel a bit slow, which I was not really expecting the IDX Nismo to feel. But yeah, that's just the way it crumbles, I'm afraid. Not a bad car to drive, certainly a really good handling car, but yeah, a bit on the slow side. Bear that in mind if you take it to a longer track. Next up we have the 2017 TAMO Racemo, 188 horsepower, 155 foot-pound torque, 2,293 pounds of weight. This is technically the underdog statistically, least amount of power, least amount of torque, and the lightest car here today. Despite that though, power to weight ratios on these two cars should be pretty close. I believe the Racemo might actually have the advantage just because it is that little bit lighter. I do like the Racemo quite a lot actually. I was quite excited to drive this car. As far as it goes to drive, it was very surprising. It is a very raw feeling car to drive. It doesn't... The IDX sort of feels a bit more sophisticated, like it's more roadworthy. This feels almost like a proper race car. It's very loud, it's sort of very aggressive. I quite like that about it. It is actually a very quick car. It is a lot quicker than the IDX Nismo in a straight line. Again, I'm assuming just because it's lighter and the power isn't that much less. It is a very quick car, this one, for the class it's in, which is the top of D class. It can be a little bit tricky to drive just because it's so raw. You do need a lot more talent to drive this car than the IDX Nismo. The IDX Nismo is a pretty easy car to drive. This is quite a bit harder. It's almost Lotus-esque in the way that it drives. It's almost like a slightly less powered Lotus Elise to drive, which I actually quite like. It is a really quick car though. If you can get the hang of this car, it is super fast around the track. A really good car to drive indeed, and that's reflective in the time. The TAMO Racemo goes into 176th place with a 126.584. It actually beats the Hot Wheels Rip Rod, which I said was the fastest D-Class car by far in the Hot Wheels episode, but no, the Racemo has actually conquered it, being the fastest D-Class car. It's quicker than an 037 Stradale, although it's at least an extremely quick car. The Nissan IDX Nismo, however, sits more where you'd expect it to do. 192nd place with 127.678 goes in between a Jaguar D-Type and a BMW M3, slightly slower than a Nissan 300 ZX Twin Turbo. That car is the top of D-Class, the IDX Nismo is just off that. So, yeah, the IDX Nismo is about where you'd expect it to do, but of course the standout car today and the winner of this rivalry is indeed the TAMO Racemo. It's just so much quicker around the Top Gear track. Again, the IDX Nismo is a fine car to drive, but the Racemo is the better of the two. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching this first edition of Top Gear Laps Rivals. Do hope you've enjoyed, and join us next time when we will be taking a look at another rivalry. Until then, farewell.
My friend Dario is a super mega car. Rides too fast, rides too flash, rides too fast, too fast, too fast, too fast, too fast. Doesn't care.